What's up? Got guests today? Two other people with us? Just again, real important. Hey, everybody. Brought the Bahamas back with us. Y'all are welcome for the sun. What am I talking about today? I forgot. Kansas State?
Whatever you want,
Bahamas was awesome. Hopefully y'all got a chance to see some of the videos. Kids were great. Humanitarian effort was great. Sun was great. Games were good. I wouldn't say great all the way through, but great in spots. And now Kansas State and the matchup.
How do you deal with their size?
Well, their post players just went 17 for 17 from the field, so that's not a concern at all. I don't know that obviously you just scheme, try to keep it from getting to their exact spots. You know, if they're either one of their kids, Williams or Yoki, get it where they want it, there's really not a whole lot we can do except hope they miss, which they don't do very often. I thought, I watched the Pan Am game tryouts real closely because Chelsea was trying out, and I thought Peyton Williams may have been the best player at tryouts. So, and then the freshman's playing really good. Redshirt freshman really grew a lot last year in the off season for them, and it's blossomed into a really nice player. So, like we've done with other people that have big players, we'll try to run them in transition as hard as they are to guard on one end, try to make it as hard as them to guard us on the other end.
Yeah, Coach Mitty mentioned to me that, what y'all do off the bounce and from three and getting to the foul line is kind of, hey, we got to do the opposite with our size and try to make you guys uncomfortable that way.
Yeah, it's probably a really stark contrast in preparations going on here and up there. So we've got to do what we do well, and I know they're going to try to make us not as good at those three things. So it's going to come down to the team that can probably do the best at doing what they do offensively, and then defensively finding a way to make the other team the most uncomfortable. That's usually what it comes down to in these matchups. So when you've got such a drastic style of play philosophy and difference there. But, I do think that even though those big kids get a lot of the spotlight, you've got a future pro in Chrissy Carr, put around a kid that we saw in this gym last year. Angela Harris was the point guard for Houston last year when we played him in the NIT. So she won't be she'll be ready for the challenge for sure. And then they've got a spot-up shooter that made 5 threes the other night. So they're good on the perimeter. This is another NCAA tournament team from last year. It's 4 out of our last 5, I think, were teams that all went to the NCAA tournament. So big chunk of our schedule right here in a row. This is kind of one of those games where, we've talked about chunking the season together. This will end a little chunk, that 4 tournament teams in 5 games.
What do you have to continue to get better at after a couple of games there in the Bahamas?
We got to continue to pursue the ball a little bit. I'm not going to tell you we're going to get that much better at rebounding, but we've still got too many people standing and watching, counting on Taylor to get it, hoping that it comes their way. We got to go get it a little bit more. And I'll give Amber Ramirez, she's probably never, ever been singled out for her rebounding effort. So congratulations to Amber, because she made a commitment. She went and got 9 rebounds for us the other night. And the only difference in the win over Wisconsin and the loss to Cal was we got 50% of the loose balls. Cal got 90% of them against us, so we couldn't win. So we've got to try a little harder with just going after it, pursuing it, making it important to go get stops. We've still gone through a little lulls, almost every game shooting it a little bit. So we've got to even those consistencies out. I would tell you that as a team we've been pretty consistent, but individually there's been some ups and downs. So, get back to where we've got 3 threats on the perimeter, 4 threats on the perimeter, and then clean some things up defensive rebounding wise. Other than that, I think stay good at the things we're already good at. Make sure we stay. This is a weird month. We only play 5 games in the entire month of December after playing 8 in a very abbreviated November. So it kind of feels like we're on a football schedule there, with Friday, Saturday games in there, 1 game a week. So chance for us, because there's not been much talk about football around here lately. I thought we'd use a football reference. So there you have it.
Is Dungy, did they put a bigger kid on them or switch to put a
Tried.
bigger kid? Yeah, attempted.
Tried for a while, and we moved him around a little bit, but it was first of all, they didn't have much option because all of their kids were big. I mean, it's not like they had another option. What's really unique is to watch other teams, and sometimes you don't get a chance to do it during the game. It's when you go back and you get on the plane, you watch the film, and you see how they change matchups throughout the game. You can tell they start out with a plan A, and then it's like, oh, well, we put that kid on her. Well, then all of a sudden Michaela Daniels is wide open, and she's driving it to the rack. So let's move that kid over there. Now Amber Ramirez gets open. So it's always unique to see who they put their best defensive player on and how they make those changes as the game goes. But they didn't have many options because all of their kids were big, but they did try to keep length on her. It's going to be a popular thing. If y'all saw Louisville beat Oregon the other night, they put their post player on Ionesco on the point guard, and it worked. So I suspect to see other teams, probably trying some unique matchups like that. But we did the same thing to Wisconsin. We put Chelsea on their 5-player and Taylor on their 4-player because just, kind of some strategy matchup-wise because of the way they played.
Anything on the injury front? Any changes for those kids?
Jalen is running with us in warm-ups. She's not practicing with us yet, so she is at least participating in the 10-minute stretching that we do, and she's looking. We're trying to get a gauge there. I think Kiera will be back right around. I always hate to put a date on it because that puts an expectation on it, but I think for sure by the time the conference season starts, but in the optimistic side of you, hope you get her back for a game or two so she can get her legs back under. And we were down there in the Bahamas, and one of the other coaches pointed out that we've got to where we've gotten without 2 kids who started every game last year, hadn't played 1 second yet. So I think that's a credit to some of these other kids that have really accepted new roles and added roles. Taylor added minutes. Lex with added responsibility, Amber coming in, Michaela coming in new, and then, Chelsea being Chelsea.
IT obviously continuing to progress.
Getting closer. Yeah, she said it. We had her at the luncheon. What'd she say, Brett? 70%? That's how she feels. But her explosiveness back. I tell you what I don't think back is just that the lungs under there for playing extended minutes, but she played really quality minutes in Fordham and absolutely destroyed the jet skis. She was unbelievable. She's like a pro jet skier, her and Taylor Thomas both. So I think she's getting closer to being back, full speed to where I think she can be that explosive spark when she comes in the game. Something happens. Even right now, when she comes in, something's going to happen. She leads our team in assists, which is hard to do with the minutes that she's playing. And so when she comes in, she's going to make something happen. Hopefully it starts to be all positives, but I think that comes when she gets her confidence and her legs back under her. And then Destiny is the other one that I didn't mention. She did make the trip with us, which was we were kind of using that as a benchmark for us, for her to be able to get on the plane and go down to experience that with us. She was able to do that. I think we're still looking at first of the year with her.
Mike, if you had to rank an order of fun between Hamilton, jet skis, the humanitarian work on Thanksgiving, or basketball.
Oh, wow, you had to throw that one in there, did you? Well, as far as fun, Hamilton, of course, I'm a Hamilton, and getting to take the kids to see that in San Francisco was unbelievably cool. Most of them hadn't even heard of what it was. We did a little scouting report on film here in the film room before we left, and, they got listening to the soundtrack, and then to see them in the performance being moved by the choreography and the lighting and the music, and then the Orpheum Theater there, that was unbelievable. That's certainly number one. Was jet skiing an option? I'm going to put that too. I mean, just because, again, it's fun. The humanitarian effort was anything but fun, but it was probably the most important thing we did on all of it, because we did it on Thanksgiving Day, which I had to explain to several team members and embarrassingly some staff on why they didn't celebrate Thanksgiving in the Bahamas. But that was a good experience too. I think they all needed to know that that's not a holiday in other places, but it was good for all of us. But To be in a 40,000 square foot warehouse that was dark without power still, with just box after box after box of donations that had been sent in relief efforts for Dorian, and working side by side with evacuees of the hurricane from the Abaco Islands. They were there in Nassau, volunteering. That's how they make their way right now. They work as volunteers there, and then this Knowles Foundation feeds and houses them in efforts for their work. But we unpacked, I don't even know how many boxes we unpacked and put on shelves. Not only our team turned out, but our boosters went with us too. That was unbelievable to see when we showed up that morning. We had to take 3 buses over there. We worked for about an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes, and we're just absolutely drenched. But to see that on Thanksgiving Day, and for them to realize how many things we have to be thankful for when these evacuees were there working for their meals in a powerless, waterless, obviously unair conditioned with all that stuff, empty warehouse, with just seeing what everybody had donated. And we've been spreading this advice everywhere I go as somebody who helped unpack the boxes. If you ever send stuff for humanitarian efforts to anywhere, don't send diapers and baby wipes. They have enough of those. They are literally in every box. There were pallets and pallets and pallets and pallets of diapers and baby wipes and water. They have tons of water. They need rice. They need detergents and cleaning supplies. We even started collecting, knowing that we were going, we started collecting from all the hotels, the little shampoos and conditioners and body lotions. Those are the things that are empty on those shelves. They can never get rid of all the diapers they have. So if you're ever inclined to do that, make sure you just send some rice and detergents. So I'm not sure I did that justice, but Hamilton for sure won. Was amazing. Maybe the best singing cast I've seen of the 10 times I've seen it. And then jet skis, but most important, certainly humanitarian efforts. Gave me an out there. Thanks, Brett.
Any other questions? Okay.
Thanks, everybody.